You know, when we talk about health, about weight, the story often feels, well, pretty simplified, doesn't it?
Oh, definitely. It's always calories, carbs, exercise, more discipline.
Exactly. Just push harder, do the right things, and it'll all just, fall into place.
hmm The standard narrative.
But what if that story is missing? Well, maybe the most important part. What if it's not really about what you do, but maybe more about what you feel? Or perhaps what you suddenly stop feeling?
Ah, okay. That's an interesting angle.
Yeah, so today we're doing a deep dive into semaglutide. But look, this isn't going to be your typical weight loss ad discussion. No before and afters here.
Good, because there's so much more to it.
Right. Our mission is to explore how this medication just might be unlocking something much deeper. We're looking at it through the eyes of someone, a guy named Dan Hollis, who actually calls it a tool for decoding emotional amnesia.
Emotional amnesia. Wow. That's
Yeah.
quite a phrase.
Isn't it? It's less about the drug itself and more about maybe a journey of self-discovery it can trigger.
Okay, I'm intrigued. So Dan Hollis, what's his take?
Well, okay, let's unpack this. What's fascinating is he doesn't really talk about selling weight loss, not in the usual way. He talks about offering intentional surrender.
Intentional surrender, not control.
Exactly, and building inner architecture. His focus isn't just shedding pounds, it's about helping people uh, rewrite the stories they're actually living inside.
So moving beyond the physical.
Way beyond. Our sources, they describe this really profound shift in perspective he offers, one that challenges almost everything we hear. He argues, pretty strongly actually, the world thinks fat is about food. Calories, carbs, discipline, whatever.
Yeah, the usual suspect.
They're all wrong. It's about something else. He's saying the problem we think is the problem. It's just a symptom.
Okay, so what is the something else, according to him?
This leads right to his core idea, and honestly, this one really made me pause. He says, semaglutide gives you silence, and silence gives you truth.
Silence gives you truth, not appetite suppression.
He didn't focus on that. Not melts fat, not rewires hormones, though maybe those things happen. He said, it gives you a moment where food stops talking.
Food stops talking.
Yeah, and for some people, that's the first honest moment they've had in 20 years. Just imagine that, like a constant background noise in your head, food, cravings, guilt, planning, avoiding switched off.
No.
After decades.
Wow, okay. That reframes it completely. It's not just about not feeling hungry physically.
Right.
It's the cessation of that relentless internal noise. Food, for so many people, it's everything, isn't it? Comfort, distraction, coping, reward, punishment.
A constant companion, almost.
Exactly. And that creates this mental static, this hum that just drowns out everything else. Deeper feelings, anxieties, maybe even spiritual questions.
Yeah.
So if semaglutide removes that static, Hollis is saying those deeper things can finally surface.
And that the silence itself, that's where the real work begins. He even calls it potentially dangerous.
Dangerous. How so?
Because it offers surrender. It flies in the face of our usual fight harder, control yourself mentality. Suddenly you're not battling food cravings anymore, and that space, it can feel vast, maybe even terrifyingly empty.
Right. Because the fight was familiar. The struggle was the routine.
Precisely. It's a totally different kind of power, isn't it? If food isn't screaming for attention anymore, what other conversations can finally start?
What truths might come up in that quiet? Things that were always there, just muffled by the noise of food obsession.
Yeah, maybe it's about stress or grief you haven't dealt with, or maybe a lack of real connection. The quiet just shines a light on it.
Okay, so that makes sense. The silence creates an opening.
But then what? If the drug creates this quiet, this intentional surrender, what happens next? And this is where Hollis offers another really radical idea about why people struggle.
Okay.
He suggests most people relapse not into hunger, but into confusion.
Confusion, not hunger. That's subtle, but huge.
Isn't it? It just shifts the whole understanding. It's not a failure of willpower against hunger pangs necessarily.
Something deeper. Disorientation, maybe.
Exactly. And this leads to what he calls the headline we missed in all the diet talk. It's not lose weight now. It's what if you weren't broken, just confused?
Oh, I like that. That takes away so much shame.
Right. It just changes the whole approach. It's not about blaming yourself. It's about understanding the confusion.
Yeah, connecting that to the bigger picture. It completely reframes failure. Hollis sees hunger, or maybe the drive for food, not just as physical. He calls it a stand-in.
A stand-in.
Yeah, a surrogate for meaning, comfort, escape. Think about it for years, maybe decades. Food was the reliable thing, the celebration, the comfort after a bad day, the way to numb out,
The constant.
the constant. So when that signal gets quieted by the medication, when the static goes, what's left can be really startling. He mentions grief and disorientation.
Grief. For food.
Or for the role food played.
Hmm.
Because as he puts it, food was the plan. It was the rhythm. It was the escape hatch. Took away the escape hatch.
And you're left facing whatever you were escaping from with no familiar map.
Exactly. It's not weakness. It's a profound, almost existential confusion. How do I be without this thing that structured my emotional life?
That really underscores why we need to look past the simple explanations. It forces you to consider all the emotional baggage, the history tied up with food, not just the calories.
It's not just suppressing appetite. It's navigating a massive internal shift.
Okay, so if semaglutide gives you this quiet, this chance to sort of decode that emotional fog, what do you do with it? That seems like the million-dollar question.
Right? The silence is there. Now what?
And Hollis nails this. He says, people don't fail because the drug doesn't work. They fail because no one taught them what to do with the quiet.
That makes so much sense.
He says, silence scares the hell out of most folks, makes them feel like they lost their favorite lie.
Oof, their favorite lie. Powerful.
Yeah. So when you're scared, when you feel that loss of the familiar, what do? You grab for what you know.
Even if it's unhealthy.
Right. Cheese puffs, cheat days, chaos. It's a retreat to the known because the unknown quiet is just too unsettling.
So does he offer a way to navigate that unknown?
He does. He has a really clear plan. He talks about building scaffolding or inner architecture in that new quiet space.
Scaffolding, like support structures.
Exactly. Not just relying on willpower, which, let's face it, often crumbles. It's about building a concrete, intentional framework for living in the quiet.
Okay, what does that look like? What are the components of this scaffolding?
He lists things like a solid framework, a renewed sense of identity, new rituals, different language, new routines, and get this, neurobiological replacement structures.
Neurobiological replacement structures. Okay, break that down.
It sounds complex, but I think the idea is pretty straightforward. It's about consciously creating new, healthy patterns and habits that your brain can latch onto, literally rewiring pathways.
So finding new sources of comfort, reward, meaning that aren't food.
Precisely.
Right.
Swapping out the old automatic reach for food with something else. Maybe it's a walk outside. Maybe it's calling a friend, meditation, a creative outlet.
Building new pathways that give you dopamine or connection or calm from different sources.
Exactly. It's all part of rewriting the story people were too full to finish. The story of who they really are underneath the noise.
This brings up a huge point about identity. It's something often missed in just focusing on weight loss.
How so?
Well, Hollis says something really profound. Your body changes faster than your identity.
Wow. Yeah.
Think about it. You lose weight, you look different, maybe people treat you differently, but inside, you might still feel like the person who needed food to cope. Your internal narrative hasn't caught up.
That sounds incredibly disorienting.
It can be. So his work isn't just about managing the quiet. It's about helping people actively rebuild agency, reframe meaning, and relearn momentum within that new space.
So consciously choosing who you want to be now.
Exactly. Choosing your values, your actions, building a stable identity foundation for this new version of yourself, rather than just being pulled back by old habits or that lingering confusion.
It really is. It's more than weight loss. It's, like you said, human architecture. Building a new self, brick by brick, in that quiet space.
It's an active process.
Yeah.
Very empowering.
Okay, so we have the silence, the potential confusion, the need for inner architecture. What about support? Does that play a role?
Oh, massively. According to Hollis, it's absolutely central. His whole framework is wrapped in community.
Wrapped in community.
Yeah, and he gives this really stark warning. Most people don't fail because the medication doesn't work. They fail because they were alone.
Wow. Alone. That hits hard. So it's not a solo journey.
Not at all. And he goes further. He says, support isn't optional. It's neurobiological scaffolding.
Okay, there's that scaffolding idea again, but linked to community. Neurobiological scaffolding.
It means connection isn't just nice to have. Our brains are literally wired for it. A strong community, it provides that consistent reinforcement for the new habits. It reflects back your emerging identity. It's a safe place to process all the stuff, the confusion, the grief that comes up in the quiet.
Like having a construction crew helping you build that new architecture.
Exactly. Trying to build something complex and new all by yourself under pressure, it's incredibly difficult. Community provides those essential support beams. It creates the environment where the new self can actually be built and feel safe instead of just relying on your own willpower, which inevitably flags.
That makes total sense. It's foundational.
Absolutely.
And with this new structure, this new identity supported by community, the whole idea of success changes too, right?
Completely. Hollis says this journey isn't about eating less. It's about living more.
Living more. I like that.
Yeah. The measure of success isn't just the number on the scale anymore. That can fluctuate. It can be misleading.
So what is the measure then?
It's whether or not someone feels alive enough to start measuring everything by food.
Feeling alive enough to start measuring everything by food. That's profound. Being able to find joy, purpose, peace separate from your plate.
Exactly. It's a shift from what he calls metabolism management.
Which is where most conversations stay.
Right. A shift from that to narrative reassembly.
Narrative reassembly, tearing down the old story and building a new one, it really does feel like a total paradigm shift. Who you are, what you value, what fulfills you.
It's a whole new way of being.
Okay, but let's be real. Journeys like this, they're never smooth. People stumble. We all do, right? Especially with big changes. How does Hollis handle failure or setbacks? Does he just say try harder?
No, quite the opposite, actually. He completely reframes it, takes the shame right out of it. He says, failure isn't the end. It's a message, a moment of feedback.
A message, not a judgment.
Precisely. And sometimes it's the most honest conversation you'll ever have with yourself. He clarifies that relapse, for example, isn't some moral failing. It's not a betrayal.
And what is it?
Often it's just the brain asking for the old familiar rhythm, seeking comfort, predictability,
Yeah.
the known path, even if it wasn't healthy. It's a signal.
That's a much kinder way to look at it.
Isn't it? It shifts failure from being this terrible personal flaw to just a data point,
Yeah.
a valuable one.
So setbacks become sacred.
He uses that word, sacred, if you're willing to look at them with curiosity instead of judgment. Instead of beating yourself up, you ask, okay, what happened here? What was I needing? What part of my new scaffolding, my inner architecture, needs reinforcing?
Curiosity instead of judgment. That's key.
And he puts it so simply. The shame isn't in failing. The shame is in pretending you were supposed to be perfect.
Oof. Yeah. That hits home. We're not supposed to be perfect.
It's about acknowledging that growth isn't a straight line, allowing for the messiness of being human. It's such a powerful antidote to that cycle of shame and giving up.
It really encourages what people call failing forward, doesn't it? Asking, okay, what's the story I'm telling myself about this stumble? Is it helpful? Is it true?
Yeah, and how can I respond with a better tool this time instead of just reaching for blame? It's about learning, adjusting, being compassionate with yourself.
A completely different way to navigate challenges, much
Yeah.
more sustainable. So, okay, let's try and pull all these threads together as we wrap up. Looking at semaglutide through this Dan Hollis lens, it's really less like a typical prescription.
And more like a pause button.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pause button. And that pause creates this quiet, which, okay, might feel weird or disorienting at first.
But it's also this incredible opportunity, a sacred space, maybe.
Right, an opportunity to build that new inner architecture and ultimately, like he says, to rewrite the story of who you are, how you navigate the world.
And it reinforces that powerful idea. Weight loss is biology. Staying there is narrative.
Biology versus narrative, I love that distinction.
At its heart, this whole journey, seen this way, is about narrative reassembly. Taking apart those old, limiting stories we tell ourselves.
The ones we were maybe too full to examine before.
Exactly. And consciously constructing new ones, finding your own internal compass, instead of just following external rules or old habits.
Building an identity that feels true, that aligns with your values, not just your last way in. So the question we want to leave you, the listener, with is this. What silence, or maybe what pause button might you need in your own life? Not necessarily related to food, maybe something else entirely.
Where might you need some quiet to really hear what you're truly hungering for, beyond the obvious noise?
Yeah. What story might you be too full to finish right now, too distracted, too busy, too caught up in the old rhythm?
And if you found that quiet space, what scaffolding, what inner architecture might you need to build?
What support would you need to finally write that next, more authentic chapter for yourself?
Lots to think about there.
Definitely. We hope this deep dive gave you some different tools, maybe some new perspectives to consider wherever you are on your own journey.